As we welcome you to another hour of power and our continued coverage in round 8 of the prestigious Autopro Super Sprint Series. Once again, the action coming your way from Geelong's Avalon International Raceway, and over the next hour you'll see the second night of racing in an event also doubling as the traditional Southern Shootout. Last time it was Tim McCubbin proving too good in the preliminary feature. Who will it be today? I guess we'll find out shortly. Let's start by recapping the top 10 in the opening night. McCubbin, an emphatic victor in night number 1 of this series. Ian Lewis was second, Darren Maggs, David Swayn, Mike Van Bremen, Kenville, Jeremy Warren from WA, Troy Little from Sydney. And it was an entertaining night's racing on a very difficult track. I can tell you that the promoters here at Avalon International Raceway in Geelong have put a whole lot of new clay into the racetrack, and that was one of the reasons it didn't quite bind together last week. I'm joined once again in commentary tonight by former sprint car driver Colin Farr. He's out and about in the pits. Colin.
As the sport of sprint car racing has got bigger and bigger, the budgets have got bigger and the trucks have got bigger. This is the PRC transporter at Kenville, one of the biggest ones in the pits. This team not only has a huge area to display all their parts and their 2 race cars they carry on the road, they also have all the creature comforts up front. Let's go up front and have a look. The Kenville PRC team really has a great setup for when they do hit the road. Up front here, we've got the lounge set out. We've got 3 bunk beds for the crew members. We've got a refrigerator, microwave, shower, and the ultimate, I think, for travelling on the road, the good old TV.
Yes, a very impressive setup. Thanks for that, Colin. And later on today's program, we'll catch up with the team owner of the PRC operation, Kenville. Great crowd in tonight for the second night of the Southern Showdown, round 8 of the Autopro Super Sprint Series. We'll check now the starting grid in heat number 9 as we continue on from last week's program. Lawless, Smith, Sheilds, Anderson, Russell, Murcott, Warren, Swayn and Pitcher. 9 cars to do battle here in this 10-lap heat. Colin Farr beside me.
As we get ready to go green now, it's Lawless has dropped to the back of the pack, and Sheilds has got position 1 at the start, and he's jumped away to the lead already in the 36 car.
You're not sure how that happened. Looking forward to seeing what transpires with the racing surface tonight. I've already alluded to the difficulties as we see the yellow flag come out. Unsatisfactory start. I've mentioned the difficulties that the drivers faced last week, and those of you that caught the show will be familiar with what I'm talking about. It was a really tough racetrack. Hopefully it'll be better tonight. We've got problems. David Anderson in the Wagga mobile cranes entry. Very lucky to keep it on 4 wheels, Colin.
Yeah, the track's very greasy at the moment, David. We actually early tonight seen the guys wheel pack for about 2 hours to get this track in. Still
David
a bit
Smith.
greasy.
David Smith, sorry to interrupt you, mate, having problems, and likewise Graeme Pitcher in car 84.
You guys will be treading very carefully here at the start as the track's very greasy now, as we see Anderson shoots into second place. Craig Lawless there at the back in the 31 machine.
Yeah, no traction to speak of out there at the moment with the enormous horsepower, about 700 horsepower apiece. These cars are merely buzzing wheels. That doesn't matter though. In a couple of races, it will start to pack in. The moisture will be scrubbed off the top of the surface and compacted into the surface. And as a result, the track will be just like lightning. Race leader is Troy Sheilds. David Anderson runs second on the circuit. Third is Darren Russell in car number 30. And he's under siege from that man, David Murcott.
David Murcott, one of the real hard chargers in the field here from Tasmania. We've got another shot now of Anderson in the blue 37 Wagga mobile cranes. The car's very familiar. He's been in that car for a long time.
He has, and he's a guy you would have banged wheels against many, many times.
Yeah, he's a good racer. They're very, very aggressive, very hard charge, as we see now as he starts to make some ground up now, and Troy Sheilds, the leader in the 36.
Yeah, Ando's been a great supporter of sprint car racing. He's always supported the major national trails, and if there's a big money race, he'll be one of the first guys rocking up to the pits. In car 30, good shot of Darren Russell back onto the main section. So no change in the order. Up front, it's Sheilds, followed by Anderson, and best of the rest in third is Darren Russell. Track starting to dial in nicely now, Colin.
Yeah, it's quite a narrow line on the bottom of the racetrack at the moment. Still, where the guys are getting drive, we can see Anderson following right in Sheilds' footprints there.
Beautiful close-up shot, isn't it? Sheilds around the outside of some of the slower cars. He puts a lap on Graeme Pitcher, or attempts to. This could be just what David Anderson needs. He closes the gap dramatically. That is beautiful camera work as they sprint down the back part of this racetrack.
Troy Sheilds doing a good job there, getting around the outside of those lap cars quite quickly. If he had hesitated, Ando would have been all over him.
So Troy Sheilds in car number 36. He's got the thing dialed in nicely. He's hardly working at the wheel. Beautiful shot down the back straight. His elbows were not too busy in the cockpit, which is the sign, Colin, of a car that's set up very well.
Yeah, because you get the white flag that time around, 1 to go as they go in the back straightaway. They'll get the checker this time around. It's going to be Troy Sheilds. It'll take the win from David Anderson in second place.
Anderson was close enough on a couple of occasions, but unfortunately for him, not good enough that time round. Checkered flag flying. It was Sheilds, Anderson and Murcott. It was a fairly dubious start to the race with a couple of attempts to start the event. The track was greasy, but it got better as each lap was undertaken by these drivers. And I should imagine by the time the next heat rolls around, it will be even better. Bastow, Hunter, Hough, Knight, Moole, Van Bremen, David that is, John Vogels, Darren Maggs and Mark Smith.
Darren Maggs was one of our really quick competitors of this show last night. He was quite high in the points. Just watch him charge from the back.
Once again, around the 40 cars competing in this Autopro Super Sprint Series round, which is also being supported by INV Truck and Trailer Repairs out of Victoria. Big supporters of sprint car racing.
Big supporters of Mike Van Bremen, who's leading this series at the moment. We got a shot there of Knight going around the outside in the 14 car.
At camera located midway between turns 3 and 4 is really producing some wonderful shots as they race down the back straight particularly. Massive crowd in here tonight too at the Avalon International Raceway. There's a driver riding a wheel, John Vogels. That could have been nasty. Maggs races up on the inside. He sees the opportunity.
That's what it's like in these sprint cars. They race wheel to wheel, one bit of contact and you could lose 3 or 4 positions, lose your momentum. It's extremely important now as we get a shot of Mule in the 53 car working on the back of Hunter.
Yeah, Charles Hunter knows he's in a motor race. He's got the other driver in 53 hounding the daylights out of him.
See the track starting to get a little bit wider now. The area the guys can run on, as you see Mule run high, then come low, coming onto the back straightaway as he looks like he's pulled that move off on Hunter.
Colin, why is it that this series has been so successful this season? I mean, the SRA have been around, well, a long time since Adam was a boy, but it's just been stepped up to a whole new level.
Yeah, they've come up with a really good program. A lot of races sort of close together. Good support series from the club and the sponsors. Autopro have got right behind them. But the car counts have just been incredible this year, and the racing's been very good, very even. We haven't had anyone sort of dominating the series at all.
One would imagine it's only going to get bigger and better, and C7 will certainly have cameras at every round of this Autopro tournament next year. It's been a real success for us here on Checkered Flag, with viewer figures suggesting that you're enjoying watching this Autopro series at home.
Back to your leader there, that's 90. Paul Bastow, the leader at this stage, has sort of run away with this one. But they're fighting back in the pack. 3 and 4 wide running through the turn that time around. Paul Bastow, there he is, your race leader. Last lap.
He's going to cruise to victory in heat number 10, leading by a long, long way. Got a shot there of Tony Moole. He's 3rd on the circuit, so it'll give you an idea of the gap between 1st and 2nd. There's a problem with the car that's come to rest up against the concrete wall on the exit to turn at number 3. There it is. 56 being Brent Hough. So officials will obviously declare that race because it was all over anyway. It'll be Bastow, Knight and Tony Moole. Driver's okay, as you can see. Checkered flag on display. He's a fairly charismatically attired gentleman too. Our flag waver here at Avalon Raceway in Geelong. I mentioned that we'd talk to Ken Veal. We're going to do that now. Here's Colin Farr.
Joining us now is Ken Veal from the PRC team. Ken's the owner of the team and also one of the drivers. Ken, you also make a lot of components for these cars now.
Yeah, Colin, we do actually. It's been sort of, I suppose, we've been doing it for 7 or 8 years now, building the components, and sort of this year we've sort of started racing again and got stuck back into it and having a real go.
Yeah, now what sort of stuff do you make? Most of the stuff you make is actually made out of aluminium?
Yeah, it's all pretty well made out of like aircraft quality aluminium sort of thing. Produced on CNC machining centres and lathes and that type of stuff. It's only like a small part of our business. We actually build like machinery, special purpose machinery is our main core business. So while the machines are sort of sitting around free, we start producing this sort of type of stuff.
And it's really started to kick along a bit now, hasn't it?
Well, our machines we're actually sending to America, so the components are going there as well. Because there's not enough sort of quantity in Australia to warrant sort of setting up to make the parts.
Yeah, can you show us some of those parts that you make?
Okay. these here are known as bird cages. They're just rear bearing housings really for the left and right hand side of the sprint car. They're all just out of 7075 aluminium. What else we got? These are steering components, the left and right hand steering arm. This is the front spindle that the actual wheel goes onto. Steering arms. This is driveline. This is a torque tube. It's a driveline component. And there's still it's probably another 10 items that we make that we haven't actually got here tonight.
Yeah. And with that, the jack sitting over there in the corner, I noticed that's the normal jack people use for the car. They don't really worry about how heavy the jack is. But in sprint car racing, with the use of red lights where teams run out and work on the race cars, the jack being lightweight is quite a big thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And also the quick action sort of thing. They're only about, I think, 3 pumps and the car's off the ground. But it is, yeah. It's the lightness of it is the main benefit sort of thing.
Yeah. And what sort of weight would that jack come in at?
About 34 pounds is what they weigh, which is pretty well on par with what the American ones are.
And you found lately with the way the dollar is, you're starting to get a little bit of export?
The only way, yeah. If the dollar sort of rises, probably any more than 65 cents, it'd be pretty tough to compete.
All right, well, good luck tonight, and we'll keep an eye out for the PRC cars.
No worries. Thanks very much, Colin.
Yeah, fascinating look at Ken Veal and his manufacturing operation, doing a great job for Australia. Southern Showdown Night 2, Round 8 of the Super Sprint Series. Now we advance to heat number 11 for Autopro, the parts professionals. I'll get it right, it's easy for me to say. Marcus Nelson starts on pole with Graeme Docherty beside him on the outside of the front row, and away we go. Johnson in the KFC car, moving forward quickly. He runs third as they settle down.
Get a good shot there. Colin Bulmer back in 4th position. They come on the main straightaway, but it's all Garry Chippendall running away with it at the moment. That's actually the Alan Barlee car that he's driving tonight in the 61.
There's Matthews in the predominantly orange car, number 9, making good progress as well. The Chippendall out in front. Track looking as though it's got plenty of drive. A number of these cars starting to hike their front wheels. Amber lights on.
Bill Johnson there in the KFC machine. Looks like he's had a problem with the rear end in that car. You see some components laying on the ground there behind that left rear tyre.
What do you think would have created that problem?
He actually made contact in hot laps with the fence. It looks like it maybe caused a driveline problem.
He went fast before he stopped. He was going good there for a lap or two. There's Matthews going well around the outside in car number 9. A lot of attitude with these sprint cars. Massive horsepower. Ian Lewis in car 18. Starting to thrash the daylights out of that machine. Have a look at it jumping up and down like a pogo stick.
Yeah, might have missed the setup a little bit in this one. Have the car a little bit soft for this track, and it's jumping around all over the place, but he's getting good drive from the car.
You should explain to our viewers what you mean by a car being soft.
Yeah, that's just really the shock absorber settings on the cars. They'll make the car soft when the track's a little bit greasy, and you'll tend to make the car jump around a little bit, get that little bit of drive. But as the track starts to come in and we get a few bumps in it, she can be a wild ride.
Chippendall, car number 61 out in front, hugging the pole line, the concrete curb at this Avalon International Raceway. The Speedway venue has been in operation a little over 2 decades, I think I'm correct in saying, owned and operated by the Drew family, who own a huge plumbing company in this city of Geelong. And gee, they love their oval track racing. And on a yearly basis have done a wonderful job supporting the elite class of Speedway sprint cars.
Got a shot there of Colin Bulmer in the number 12. And being chased by one of the PRC machines right now. It looks like Ken Veal. So we get another shot now of Chippendall, our leader.
Oh, decided to turn left. Unexpected off-track excursion.
We got a shot now, 2nd and 3rd. That's the fight for 2nd. That's Ian Lewis in the blue and white 18 cars. He tries to chase down Rod Matthews in the 9. We talked about how strong this series is. Rod Matthews is one of the guys who's really been a talent that's come forward this year.
Yes, he has. Been quite consistent. Docherty's got some problems in that beautifully turned out green machine. Car number 50. Leader's going to sweep to the outside and effect the pass. No, didn't quite have time. Checkered flag on display. I'll tell you what, 2nd and 3rd absolutely flashed home when it was all over. Just as well Chippendall didn't sort of procrastinate. He got the victory in car 61, Matthews and Lewis. Lewis is one of those drivers you get the feeling something exciting is going to happen whenever he's involved in racing. David Brown, Adrian Parr, Shane Stephenson, Darren Walsh, Jeff Judd, Peter Telford, Mike Van Bremen and Tim McCubbin. Gee, we've got some of the heavy hitters out to play in this heat, number 12.
Tim McCubbin coming off the back row in this one. One of the most beautifully turned out race cars. The black and silver 13. You'll get a shot of that one in a minute as we get ready to go green. Murcott on the outside of the front row. Brown on the inside of the front row. They run side by side into turn 1 and 2. It looks like Murcott's got the better on the outside.
Yes, the man that started on pole, David Brown, a relative newcomer to the sprint car racing scene. I'll tell you what, it's helter-skelter here. The boys are going for it big time in Heat 12. You'd think this was the last lap of the 50,000 to win race at Parramatta, the way they're going.
We've got a shot there of the white 22 machine fighting it out with the INV truck repairs car of Van Bremen as we get back now to the leader. 47 Brown runs down the back straightaway. Sex Please, the big sideboard on that wing.
Yes, it's created plenty of interest. His sponsorship arrangement with, well, I'm not even sure what kind of business it is, but I guess the less said, the better.
It's better for his attention, that's for sure.
That's not what. Out in front, Adrian Parr in the predominantly yellow machine. David Brown racing through next. Car 11, the driver is Jeff Judd. He won the opening round of this championship at Avalon Raceway. Oh, I think it was November last year. Had a lot of race meetings since then.
My mistake earlier, Dave. I actually called that David Murcott. They're in team cars, Adrian Parr and David. Cars painted identical.
There's Brown. He still runs respectably on the racetrack. Car number 75. Next man through, Shane Stephenson. He's third on the circuit at the moment. There's Brown again in the Sex Please entry. He runs second. A fairly big gap between he and the race leader. Up front, of course, is Parr, doing it easily.
The track's really starting to come to the cars now and getting very quick, very racy there as we see Van Bremen pull a move on Judd in the Autopro car.
A little bit one line, the racetrack at the moment. It's in better shape than was the case on night one. On occasions in the opening night that we showed you on last week's program, a lot of the racetrack was unusable. It's not quite the case tonight. It is better, but they're still hugging the curve, aren't they?
Yeah, the checkered flag now. It's Adrian Parr and the Ramsdale 77 machine takes the victory quite comfortably there in the end. David Brown will come home in second and Shane Stephenson in third.
Yeah, Mike Van Bremen was next and then Jeff Judd. Hope you're enjoying the action. It's the second night of the Southern Showdown. We'll take a break. Back in a moment.
G'day, I'm David Murcott and you're watching Checkered Flag on C7.
Tonight, Troy Shields, David Van Bremen, Darren Russell, Darren Maggs, Jeremy Warren, Graham Pitcher and Craig Lawless. That's the field lining up in qualifying heat number 13. Maggs throwing donuts on the infield here in car number 7. He'll be filthy about that.
It's quite lucky it was only the first lap and he'll get restarted and have to come back from the rear of the field as we just get a replay of that. A little bit of contact. There we go. Just enough to turn him around.
Just a racing incident, wasn't it? David Van Bremen was the driver he came in contact with. So we'll attempt to get them away again with Hunter starting on pole. Great field of cars once again. They've done a little bit of preparation on the track. As you can see, it's much smoother this time as they run down the back straight. The charge of the Light Brigade about to sweep past our camera on turns 3 and 4.
Troy Sheilds, our Heat 1 winner's jumped away again with the lead at the moment. Pulled about a 5 or 6 car length lead over Hunter. Russell in third, Warren in fourth.
Troy Shields, he's been running very respectively rather, in car number 36. Excellent crowd in here tonight. Several thousand people converging on Avalon International Raceway for this event. Shot there shows you part of the crowd at the southern end of the venue.
This is the fight for second. It's Hunter in the 73. It's Russell up in third position now, trying to go to the outside as they run down the back straightaway. Thinking about it.
A guy like you sits here tonight after having spent so many years driving these cars. You must miss it.
Oh, there's nothing like the experience of driving a sprint car. It's really hard to explain. You get kids come to you after the race meeting and, you know, what's it like? What's it like? I want to get involved in this sort of sport. And it's a great sport. It's just people don't realise just how much money's involved in turning out one of these cars.
It's always the problem with motorsport, isn't it?
It really is, especially for sprint cars, because there's not really a feeder division where the cars are similar to drive at all. They're sort of very unique sprint cars, and you can race go-karts and stuff to get ready, which is a very good stepping stone to get into Speedway. But nothing really relates to a sprint car.
It's a very good point, isn't it? So you've really got to bite the bullet and step up from another category, be it speed cars or something similar, and really head into the Rolls-Royce of oval track racing. Be something of a culture shock, not to mention a shock to your bank manager.
That's right. Some of these cars now averaging, values of $70,000 and $80,000. And first night out, first time you'll ever drive one of these, you'll line up with all the big boys and go racing.
Yeah, and in fairness too, most of the top guys have got $500,000 invested in their racing. By the time you have a couple of cars, a few engines, all the spares, the transporter, it doesn't take long to get up to that kind of money, particularly the way the Australian dollar is. Less said the better on that subject, I'm sure.
It's been all Troy Sheilds in this one now as he gets around to take the checkered flag this time around. Great heat race win. Once again, that's 2 heat race wins now for Troy Sheilds tonight.
Jeremy Warren, the West Aussie driver, car 52, finishing in second. What a job he's done supporting this series. Darren Maggs third. Warren, in fact, moving across to Victoria. Such was his enthusiasm for this event. It's heat 14 next. Paul Bastow, David Anderson, Brent Hough, David Murcott, Tony Mull, David Swayn, John Vogels, Mark Smith, and David Smith in car V45 at the back of the pack. We've already seen Bastow run very strongly in his earlier heat drive tonight, and David Anderson races straight to the front of the pack as they run down the back section.
It was Anderson this time who got the jump from the outside of the front row, as we see now as the cars all over the place back in the field as Murcott splits them.
Anderson says, catch me if you can, fellas. He's already scooted away, leading by about 30 metres. Gee, there's some traffic congestion further back in the pack, though.
Keep your eye on Murcott in the yellow 71. He's a super aggressive driver. He'll thread the needle and try and get through the field. In this one now, as you see him make a move on Swayn on the back straightaway. Didn't quite do it that time around.
Yeah, Swayn in the Hungry Hound entry. Oh! Well, why don't you put the mocker on somebody, Colin?
I told you he was aggressive. He tried the inside, he tried the outside.
Yeah, it all went wrong for him. Bad luck for Murcott. He's been very entertaining. The Rand build entry. Another look.
We'll see, he just moved a little bit high and got up into that grease. Sucked him straight into the fence. Well, there's too much damage to the back of that car. He may be able to get a restart.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a lot of damage done. Look from the camera very close to the action. I'll bet our cameraman blinked when he saw it happening, but no, that's a fairly gentle tap, really.
These cars are extremely light, but it doesn't take much to break the componentry on them. Now, as we go green again, it's Anderson who jumps away. Bastow in second, under siege there from Swayn in the 20 car.
Yeah, Swayn winning a round of this series early in the piece at this track, if memory serves me correctly. 53 is Tony Mull.
David Swayn was Rookie of the Year in this series last year and managed to get a round win, as you just said. So a big improver.
Yeah, Mull in 53 is running fairly quickly. He's annoying the heck out of David Swayn, who runs in second. You would think in just a moment Tony Mull will set up for a passing manoeuvre on the driver currently in second place, David Swayn. He's a fairly cagey operator, Swayn. There's Mull using all of the track, including a metre or two of the infield.
Mull's throwing everything at him there. As you see again, he goes to the inside. But now Swayn gets the drive onto the back straight away.
Yeah, they're still not comfortable with this racetrack and the new clay, are they? They won't run up high. And we saw the reason why early on in this race with Murcott clouding the wall. It's just greasy up there, no traction.
Mull's doing everything he can to try and get around the inside or outside of Swayn now. He's four wheels on the infield.
He's going to be sent a letter, this bloke. You can't do that. Officials undoubtedly will be having a word with him at the completion of this race. Don't be surprised if he has third spot taken away from him. You can't blatantly put your four wheels on the infield.
Oh, as he just makes contact with the back of Swayn and the wall upside.
Oh, no. I feel terrible. Didn't mean to give you such a hard time.
That's the frustration we're showing there at the end. He just was to a point where he's ready to try anything.
Yeah, absolutely. That was frustration. End of story.
Just make contact with the back of Swayn there, turn him round. As soon as these cars get on the left side, they go over with that small tyre on the left side and that big one on the right. That's enough to turn you over.
Yeah, it's a very good point, isn't it? You almost take it for granted in this form of racing with the rolling stagger, the far bigger right rear. You're quite right. It does unbalance the car. If in fact it gets out of shape momentarily, it becomes bigger than drivers would like it to be. Anderson out in front, absolutely blitzing them. In heat number 14, he's going to win this by about half a lap. Swayn is second. Paul Bastow is third. He and Vogels make contact heading down the back straight. Vogels got it back on all four wheels, though. Meantime, Anderson has taken the checkered flag, probably one of the easiest wins of his career. Swayn second, Bastow third. John Vogels is a little fired up. He finished in fourth spot.
We've got a replay now of the early incident with Murcott. Just got that little bit high into the grease and backed her in. Was unable to restart that race. We've got a shot now of Mule making contact with the back of Swayn. Pops a wheel stand, tries to correct it. Round on the left side, left rear digs in and on side. You notice there the back wheels were turning as that car was rolling. That's not very good for these engines.
Good point. Now, Parr in car 77 will start on pole in the next event. Marcus Nelson, Darren Walsh, Garry Chippendall, Peter Telford, Colin Bulmer, Tim McCubbin, Ken Vill and Troy Little. Heat number 15, we're getting through them. A lot of racing on today's program. We've still got one more heat on the other side of this race, then the C main, the B main, and of course the all-important A main to determine the winner in round 8 of the Autopro Series. What about that?
Colin Bulmer just climbed all over the back of the red machine. We've got a shot there. He's torn the side off the wing. There's shock absorbers flying off the right front wheels, bouncing around, and he ain't backing off.
Yeah, he's going to have to shortly, one would think. Good race, this one, as these cars sort themselves out through turns 3 and 4. Parr, who's currently out of camera shot, is your race leader. There he is. You saw just at the top of the screen the bright yellow car. Garry Chippendall runs second in 61. Look at the traffic congestion. Further back in the pack, they're jostling for positions. At least they're staying out of harm's way for the moment.
The black car is at 13, Tim McCubbin. He was one of our highest point scorers on the first night of this series. And he tries to get his way through the traffic. As we got a good shot there of Veal running very high on the racetrack. 22 machine Darren Walsh there, also supported by IMV Truck Repairs.
Was that the car driven by Tommy Talton around the Christmas New Year period? Have a look at Parr. He's an impressive driver, this bloke. And also running better tonight than I've seen for quite some time is that man currently on screen, Garry Chippendall.
Chippendall, as we mentioned earlier, driving Alan Barlee's car. Alan can't drive at the moment due to work commitments. He's got a brand new machine there. He's had to give it to his good friend Chippendall, who's doing a great job at the moment out in front.
Whilst we watch Adrian Parr cruising to victory in heat number 15, Colin, explain what it's like to drive one of these cars. Can you do it?
The funny thing about a sprint car is they're the easiest to drive when you're going really quick. People first get into the cars and try and drive them. And when they're going slow, they're so hard to drive. As we see there's Colin Bulmer, the right front wheel jumps around all over the place. But they're very hard to explain, David. It's something you need to experience.
Well, thanks for that. That was really good.
Yeah.
The interesting comment about they're an easy thing to drive when you're going fast.
Oh, it sounds silly, but it's...
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Colin Bulmer. What an unbelievable performance by him. I mean, he may as well have been pushing a pram out there. To finish the race has been extraordinary. Adrian Parr in car 77, the winner of heat number 15. Garry Chippendall second in 61, then Darren Walsh third in 22. Ken Vill was fourth, and Tim McCubbin. A replay of some of the earlier action.
Might get a shot here as Colin Bulmer in the white car made contact back to Telford in the 40 machine. Very lucky to hang on to it. You see there, the front end of that car had some severe damage for the rest of that race.
Unbelievable. Would have been a nightmare to drive. I'll bet his arms are aching. Docherty, Brown, Stephenson, Matthews, Judd, Lewis and Van Bremen are the starters in heat number 16. Just the 7 of them, the smallest field in this two-night series so far.
Shot now as Lewis works down the back straightaway, trying to get around Docherty in the green machine. Lewis in the 18 trying on the high side, trying the low side.
They're running fairly quick out there at the moment. Docherty and Lewis occupying one another. Race leader is David Brown. He's out in front. You're watching the scrap for second and third. Lewis up on the inside. Docherty made a mistake. He left a gap the size of the Sydney Heads, and Lewis raced through there.
Just got a little bit off the line there. That was enough to put him into the grease. And all of a sudden, 3 cars have gone by.
Further back in the pack, Shane Stephenson. Nicely turned out car. There's the Austrans entry of the Fly, Ian Lewis. Great driver. I mentioned earlier that whenever he's involved in a race, you almost expect the unexpected. He's just that driver, or a kind of driver that has an aura about him, doesn't he? Been around a long time. He's an excitement machine.
Yeah, he's had a break from the sport. He's only recently just come back this season. Bought a new car, got a Kendrick engine, and he's very, very competitive this season. He runs in second place at the moment, and just looking at the points thus far, if he comes home in second in this one, he'll be close to being highest point scorer tonight.
This man now moving up in the red car, the INV Truck Repairs entry. Speedway Fiberglass sponsored driver Mike Van Bremen. He's been very quiet tonight. We've seen nothing of him.
The series leader coming into this round.
I guess he's thinking about self-preservation, finishing, getting points. That's probably his objective, staying out of harm's way.
Good shot now here of Lewis. Has really hauled in our leader Brown now. There's only about 3 or 4 laps to go. Will he have enough to get past? Now Brown out in the front at the moment has not won a heat race before. Lewis charging for more points. As I said, if he runs second, it'll probably be enough points still to get him through to be the highest point scorer tonight. But Ian's a racer. Last lap.
Yeah, Lewis up on the inside of David Brown. Graeme Docherty, the slower car, is probably... Oh, Lewis! Up and over, back straight away. Well, there was no racing room. I was about to say Docherty was going to slow somebody down. Lewis didn't want it to be him. He got on it even harder, and you saw the result.
Good replay here. Their wheels get tangled as they come onto the back straightaway. His right rear made contact with the left rear. Up and over.
Yeah, so Ian Lewis, he would be most unhappy about that. There was only half a lap to run, and he was going absolutely gangbusters in that car. David Brown, to his great credit, was racing hard. He was not going to surrender the lead that he had enjoyed from the outset of proceedings in that race. Graeme Docherty, who seemingly had some problems with the green machine, car number 50 tonight, was really in the way of both drivers. There's Lewis. He's out of the car. He's okay. But he's not a happy boy. There's Ian Vale on the left-hand side. He's the organiser of this Auto Pro Series, Colin.
Yep, that was the last lap. They're going to go back 1 lap and have a wonder run now as we see Brown scoots away against Stephenson in second. Van Bremen now makes a move into 3rd position.
So David Brown has only got to keep it straight, and he'll greet the checkered flag right about now. Stephenson second, Van Bremen third. There's the winner on your screen, David Brown, and how happy would he be about that?
First ever heat race win. David's been campaigning for a couple of years now.
Indeed. And that's how it happened with Ian Lewis up and over. Here's Colin Farr, trackside to catch up with him.
Ian Lewis took a wild ride in that heat. Ian, is the car going to be okay for the next one?
Yeah, it's not too bad, actually. Radius rod and a couple of wings and a couple of shockers and all the expensive stuff. But other than that, no, we'll be there.
Mate, you're really moving. You got into 2nd place last lap on the back straightaway. You really took it up to Brown. What happened?
Yeah, we had a slow car up in front of us, and he didn't know what to do with it, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. And he sort of come down where I wanted to be, and it's, you know, nothing really. It just happened, you know. So these things happen. That's racing.
Mate, so changing these wings and stuff won't take too long?
No, we're just about done, actually. You know, we're just fitting up another shocker and fit the top wing on it. We're just about there. They've got quite a few races to go, but we'll be there.
Mate, good stuff. We look forward to seeing you in the main.
Yeah, we hope to be in front. Thank you.
Good stuff. During the course of a race meeting, you'll hear the drivers talk all night about the different track conditions, about the cushion, about the grease, and about the marbles. See here behind me all these large lumps of mud. See this stuff here as it moves out to the outside of the track? It all gets thrown up high. Up there, that's what they call the marbles. When the guys get into that, they tend to find that the car just goes straight up to the fence. We're down here now on the bottom of the racetrack. You can see here as the officials work on the track here. That's the groove where the guys want to run. Keep their right rear right in where those lumps of dirt are laying now. We see now as the sedan cars come out on the track. So keep an eye on that as you watch the program here tonight.
Okay, thank you for that, Colin. The C main will be next on the program. The top 4 drivers here to transfer through to the B main. It's Hunter, Docherty, Smith, Pitcher, Hough, Nelson and Lawless. 8 cars involved in the C main. It'll be fairly frantic here. All of them wanting to transfer through to the next stage of the program.
Only 4 will do so. It's already there's contact back in the pack. Pitch has come to a standstill and Hough made contact there. These guys should be able to restart.
Yeah, no major harm done to the cars, one would suspect.
Bit of a chain reaction. This one, we see one guy, 1, 2, 3, and the fourth guy also made contact. Hough comes to a standstill.
Could have been a lot worse for all concerned. Rear of field flag being shown to, I think, David Smith in 45, deemed the cause of that incident. It was interesting because he didn't actually get out of shape at any stage. He just went through a rut and the car jumped and everyone behind him panicked.
Yeah, quite unusual that Seam being sent rear of field for that.
84. Here's Graeme Pitchup. And at the moment, he's finding himself under siege. A snarling pack of sprint cars around him.
Just as we caught that shot then, the rear bumper flew off that car. He's got no rear bumper on that car at all at the moment.
I'll tell you something, he's very untidy. Up and down.
They've had to throw the yellows. That bumper bar is left laying on the racetrack. Oh,
no.
Pitcher again's made contact. This time with Nelson. As you'll see there in that shot, the 84 car has no rear bumper bar on that. He will not be able to restart this race. Oh, heavy contact there from Nelson.
You can hear the kids in the background on that replay. They're enjoying the mayhem here tonight at Avalon International Raceway. They've certainly had their money's worth. There's been some big stacks.
We go green again this time around. It's Hunter in the 73. Smith right behind him in the beautifully turned out 66 car, but it's Docherty out in front at the moment.
Interesting to see what happens with Docherty. He's out leading this event by a country mile at the moment. Beautifully turned out car. I always seem to be making reference to the paint job on that machine. I really like it. But he's had some major dramas tonight. Every time he runs quick, the next minute he's almost smoking. There's not much smoke bellowing from beneath the bonnet of the car. So can he go flag to flag without having a problem?
See now it's Smith on the back of Hunter. This is the fight for second position at the racetrack at the moment.
If you may have just joined our coverage, it's round 8 of the Autopro Super Sprint Series from Avalon International Raceway at Geelong in Victoria. This is the C main, with the top 4 drivers here to transfer to the back of the B main, which is, of course, next on the program. Docherty is about to start lapping slower cars. Here we go again. The smoke starts to pour. It's obviously nothing overly serious, but it's been happening all night long.
Yeah, it gets quite bad there as he comes onto the main straightaway again.
Oh,
whoa.
Please.
Definitely some oil running down on the headers there. Let's hope it's not something not too serious here. Docherty can hang on for the win.
He'd be hoping so. He's got a lap to negotiate. Graeme Docherty, driver of car number 50. He's got fairly much clear racetrack ahead of him. He shouldn't have any problems getting to the checkered flag.
The car's definitely slowing at the moment, but he's getting a limp home.
Yeah, very much so. Has a major problem. Look at this. Further back for second, third and fourth. They're all going to transfer through anyway. It was Docherty, Hunter, Mark Smith officially placed third ahead of David Smith in car number 45. So that's the quartet to tack onto the back of the B main. Have a look at this. That was another view of an incident we saw earlier in that race.
Nelson and Pitcher very lucky not to get upside down there.
Now we've got 15 cars in the B main, and here's Colin with the grid.
Okay, coming up position 1 with Garry Chippendall, Colin Bulmer out of 2, David Van Bremen, Adrian Parr, Troy Sheilds, Shane Stephenson, Tony Mule, Darren Russell, Peter Knight.
Then Troy Little, Paul Bastow, Charles Hunter, Graeme Docherty, David Smith and Mark Smith. What about that? Up and over.
It's one of the Ramsdale machines,
It's
77.
Parr.
That's Parr.
It's Parr. He bounced to far and won't be happy about that. He started from the outside of the second row.
So there as he dropped back into 4th position. Oh, made contact with the back of, looked like it was Bulmer.
Yeah, what that hurt. What about the whiplash going in big time, backing it in, rear end first into that concrete wall. I can tell you from experience, it is not pleasant hitting that wall. Many drivers will tell you you're far better off rolling. At least you've got some momentum instead of coming to such a sudden halt. It hurts.
Your shot now, the 20 car, Troy Sheilds from New South Wales, come down and fight it out with these Victorians tonight. Oh,
mayhem. 61, 76. Couple of different drivers involved.
Stephenson in the 75 machine was stuck in the middle of that.
Yes, it was. And Chippendall in 61, who's been running really well tonight.
Let's go try and get a replay of what just went on there.
There's just too many drivers fighting over the same piece of racetrack.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that.
Chippendall and Stephenson have made contact first.
That's what you call a triple brain explosion, Colin.
Looks like most of the guys will be able to restart.
Great crowd in here tonight. Oh. Now,
Yeah, these guys are rubbing wheels coming around for the start. It's managed to break the suspension on Darren Russell's machine.
There's the quick release steering wheel we see an example of.
You don't mind being taken out when you're racing, but rolling around for the start, that's just ridiculous.
This is the B main. All important for those drivers still remaining in the event.
Once again, it'll be 4 cars transfer out of this one. Bulmer now in second place, gets very, very sideways going on the back straightaway. Garry Chippendall, no front wing on that car. He made contact earlier. That'll be a handful for him in this race.
Yeah, what aspects of driving the car do you think will be noticeably different to him without the front wing?
Yeah, he'll really try and keep the car down low on the racetrack, because once he gets up a little bit high and hits some of those ruts we've seen earlier, he'll have a real problem keeping the front of that car where he needs to towards the bottom of the racetrack. Very hard to steer the cars without that front wing.
Yeah, I think it's probably an aspect of sprint car racing that some people underestimate. The top wing, it goes without saying, is crucial from the point of view of downforce and definitely safety in the case of a rollover. It really digs in and stops you, but the front wing plays its role as well.
Even over the years, a few guys have tried to come up with new designs for the bonnets of these cars where they don't run a front wing, tried to make the bonnet as part of an air scoop, and still never quite had the effect of mounting that big front wing up there.
Yeah. I think Gary Brazier was one driver that did attempt to do that at one stage.
And Brett Lacey actually designed a car called a Beretta, a chassis he built himself. When he did that, he made the bonnet so it actually incorporated a front wing.
Gary Chippendall is the race leader in car number 61. In the United States, wingless sprint cars are a fairly popular form of racing. I imagine they'd be fairly radical to drive. No place for the faint-hearted.
I was very lucky in '91 to actually have a chance to race non-wing sprint cars at 3 or 4 racetracks throughout Indiana. And I tell you, well, I think it would probably relate to driving a speed car, I guess, without that huge aerofoil on top. But yeah, the characteristics of the car were changed heaps. You know, you go into a corner and the car was just so sideways.
A lot harder to drive.
I thought it was a really good evener. It didn't come down to horsepower. We see Bremen gets sideways.
Little has a big dump. That is an absolute shocker. Minding his own business and was taken out.
Nowhere to go then, as we've seen Van Bremen just come down off the wall right in front of him.
Troy Little started out at position 10 in this race, all the way down from Sydney. Another look at it with Colin Farr.
You see in that shot there, the top wing on David's car was hanging down. He couldn't see where he was going. Right in front of.
That is a very big wreck. Well, Troy Little has driven down here this weekend to take part in the Autopro round for the first time. Here's Colin.
Troy Little just taking a real wide ride there in the B main. Troy, you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. The car's a bit second-hand, but that's how racing goes, sort of thing, eh?
Hey, what happened there in that incident?
I think it was a lap car, just got out a bit out of shape and got up next to the fence and he got out of the bucket and yeah, he come down track and had nowhere to go and sent me upside down.
Mate, she was a big flip. Are you all right physically?
Yeah, these cars are pretty safe and cars just wearing a bit second-hand at the moment and yeah, but I'm right. Just hopefully the crew can get it right for next week.
It really is a great example of the safety characteristics built into the specifications of these sprint cars. B main was in fact declared with Chippendall, Bulmer and Sheilds the winner. Here's the field now in the A main. Van Bremen, Maggs, McCubbin, Swayn, Warren, Louisville, Vogels, Judd, Matthews, Anderson, Telford, Chippendall, Bulmer, Sheilds and Tony Moole. I couldn't talk any quicker if I had to.
And time to spare. A professional as we get ready to go green.
This is what it's all about. The grand finale, round 8 of this 2-night Southern Showdown. Huge field of cars racing through turns 1 and 2. Oh, we got one in the up and over club already. It's become a fairly elite club at Avalon this weekend too. Goodness me.
Colin Bulmer has been a regular visitor to that club this weekend. Been in quite a few incidents. We see a replay here as he tries to go on the inside of Judd, climbs over his left rear. Once again on that left side, she dug in just to squash that aerofoil a little more at the end.
We've seen some incidents. I alluded to that earlier. The fans have certainly had their money's worth here in Geelong this weekend. Let's see how it works out this time. The second restart in the A main. They negotiate the first half a lap safely anyway. I was about to say on the back end of that Troy Little interview, the safety specifications in these cars speak for themselves. We've seen some enormously spectacular incidents here this weekend and all drivers have escaped without so much as a scratch.
Yeah, these cars are constructed from aircraft grade chromoly chassis, incredibly strong, and the regulating body of this sport very strict on safety.
Van Bremen in the Speedway Fiberglass I&V truck and trailer repairs entry, doing a good job in this race. It's very much follow the leader. This has been the scenario with this racetrack for the 2 nights in its entirety. The top part of the circuit, really not very user-friendly. A whole bunch of new clay being put into the surface recently, and it just hasn't bound up with the old clay.
David Van Bremen now in second place. It's Mags as your leader. You see that shot there? Mags' front wings hanging right off the front of that car. Let's hope that doesn't come off during this race.
Yeah, Mags having an altercation when he was locked in traffic early in this race. They come up to lap slower cars already, Colin.
That's the hardest part with sprint car racing. There's no rear vision mirrors. There's no radio contact. So you don't know if you're being hounded for, you know, the guys right behind you, or you're out in front by half a lap. So you just got to push yourself as hard as you can, and don't take too long in traffic. As we see now, as Mags is coming up on some heavy traffic, and Van Bremen right on his back bumper.
Ian Lewis started this race from position number 6. He's making progress as well. You can expect car number 18 to really come into the equation shortly. David Anderson on the right-hand side of your screen in the Wagga Mobile Cranes entry. David Swayn just ahead of that battle in the Hungry Hound JSR.
This is the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th at the moment, as we see Anderson makes a move on Warren now.
Yeah, Jeremy Warren, 52. Car 52, that is. I didn't mean 52 years of age. Only from WA. And they really start to pack up. This could be interesting.
Mike Van Bremen's not letting Darren Mags pull away at all.
Troy Sheilds separates those 2 drivers. It's Mags, Sheilds in the middle of them, but he is a lap down, I remind you, in car number 36. There's Swayn. He's about to be swooped upon by David Anderson. You can see beneath the rear of Swayn's car the glowing disc. Bright red. We'll try and get another shot of it for you in a moment. One of the more spectacular sights of sprint car racing, isn't it?
Sure is. Now as we get another shot of Mags, our race leader, trying to negotiate this heavy traffic.
There's Matthews in car number 9. Vogels ahead of him, 61. Garry Chippendall, who started this race from position number 13.
Johnny Vogels also been one of the real standout performers in this series this year. Matthews also with that brake rotor glowing orange there, as we see in that shot, the number 9.
There's Judd in car number 11. We got a quick shot of him once again. He's been, well, conspicuous by his absence this weekend. He's done nothing in the Autopro car, number 11. Although a bit hard to say he's doing nothing, he's probably driving very intelligently, given what has to be done in a championship series. It's all about consistency, staying in one piece. He'd be aware of that.
Yeah, with only a few rounds left to go, he still is the point leader at the moment. See now as Mags has managed to put about 3 or 4 cars between him and Van Bremen. Will it be enough?
Rod Matthews, the rear of that car is glowing bright orange. Mags behind him. I can even see sparks starting to fly from the rear of Matthews' car number 9.
Let me tell you, that is not healthy. He's obviously using the brake quite a bit to keep the car on the bottom of the racetrack and out of those ruts.
Yeah, we'll try and keep our eye on that. Have a look at the back of that car. Our cameraman needs to actually take a look and stay on it for a moment.
One of the scary parts is just above that big glowing orange brake rotor is the fuel cell with full of methanol.
That's an interesting point.
These cars run a plastic shell, that big triangular shaped thing hanging off the back of the car. That's the fuel cell. It's made of plastic, very, very strong. And inside that is a rubber bladder, which will protect these cars if the shell is to split on the outside. Touch wood in Speedway. We've been very lucky with fires on sprint cars. It hasn't really been a big incident at all.
No, not many anyway. I think a few years ago there was one at Newcastle Speedway, if memory serves me correctly. Matthews must have decided to get off the brake pedal because the sparks have stopped flying from car number 9 at the moment. There he is there, charging by on the outside of Vogels, John Vogels in car number 70. But there's the race leader, Darren Mags in car number 7, a family that has, well, long history associated with the sport of sprint car racing. Fielding the legendary HM Headers cars many years ago for the great Garry Rush.
So now 36 car of Sheilds has made heavy contact with the wall. We see him take out 2 heat victories earlier tonight.
Look at the right rear tyre.
Absolutely destroyed.
It is a pancake. Restart now. Grand final in round 8 of the Autopro Super Sprint Series, supported by INV Truck and Trailer Repairs. The second night in the Southern Showdown.
This is what Van Bremen needed, a yellow light. He's bunched them back up again, but look at Lewis now. Lewis is charged from 6th position, works his way into 2nd on the bottom of Van Bremen. They make wheel-to-wheel contact there.
He is a 110% racer, Ian Lewis, in car number 18. Here he is. The boys have arrived up front. It's getting very serious with the leading trio. Van Bremen not prepared to cop it. He wants to come back on the inside of Lewis. Gee, the pace has increased dramatically here, hasn't it?
As these two go to war, it looks like Mags is just pulling away a little bit at the moment.
Well, for Mags, well, that's what he wants, isn't it? Two drivers to occupy each other. And they battle, they slow one another down, and he'll just disappear.
Obviously, Ian Lewis has a very quick car tonight, but we've seen him get turned over in the last heat race. They've obviously made the repairs very well. That car's very quick at the moment as he's come through from 6th to 2nd. Has he got enough to take it up to Mags in the 7 machine?
Yeah, you'd think so. I mean, Lewis looks to be infinitely quicker than Mags, who's battling with a car with a damaged front wing. Be interesting to watch his Anderson also coming quickly. 13 is Tim McCubbin. At the moment, McCubbin running 4th on the racetrack, so arguably the 5 fastest drivers in this series now occupy the first 5 posies.
Yep, the cream rises to the top now as we get a shot. Lewis in 2nd place, trying to hunt down race leader Mags. Last lap.
I don't think he's going to have time. Mags on your screen is the race leader. No sign of Lewis challenging. Only a couple of corners to negotiate. Given the circumstances with a broken car, that's a big performance by Darren Mags. Takes the win in round 8 of the Autopro Series. Ian Lewis 2nd, then Mike Van Bremen, Tim McCubbin and David Anderson, the top 5. Oh, we have a wheel falling off a car.
Garry Chippendall's front wheel there flew off right at the end of the race.
Fair dinkum. What else can happen here this weekend? It's been absolute carnage. And very lucky that wheel not coming into contact with anybody or anything. So Darren Mags, the winner in round 8 of the Autopro Super Sprint Series. Here he is.
Joining us now, Darren Mags. Darren, congratulations, your first ever feature race win.
First ever, yeah, it's taken a while, Cole. It's taken a bit too long, actually, but no, we're happy. Very happy.
Mate, it was a good drive tonight. You guys look like you were having a bit of a war at the start there, rolling around on that yellow flag. You and Mike Van Bremen come together?
Yeah, Mick and I were, well, you know, Mick wanted me up, I wanted Mick down, and we were running around, we're giving each other plenty of room, and there's a few ruts down in 3 and 4, and I think I was just running on the top of them and dropped in the hole, and that 6 inches or 7 inches where we dropped over was enough to cause a little bit of a kerfuffle.
Mate, you got some damage here in the front wing. It didn't affect the car at all?
No, we once we took the green, knowing they were going to stop it, and just went into 1 and 2 and put it in. We're going to race. It stuck all right, so we wound the wing forward and the top wing forward as far as we sort of could, and it didn't affect it at all. It was good.
Welcome to this week's episode of Checkered Flag on C7 Sport as we present highlights